All right, so today we're going into some pretty strange territory.
Yeah,
We're going to be looking at these hypnosis sessions from Calogero Grifasi and his team,
right.
and they're investigating this idea of a satanic agenda.
hmm
And some of the stuff that comes out in these sessions is pretty wild.
It's fascinating. And, even though we are approaching this with a good deal of skepticism,
Yep.
the consistency across the sessions really makes you think twice. You know,
Yeah.
we see these recurring themes over and over again: manipulation, these
Uh,
otherworldly entities,
Right.
the struggle for control over humanity's destiny.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so interesting about it.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, you can kind of write off one or two of these sessions maybe as, who knows what.
right.
But when you see the same things coming up over and over and over again,
Exactly.
that's when it starts to get a little creepy.
Absolutely.
So for our listener, let's start with the basics. Like, what are we even talking about when we say satanic agenda?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like something out of like a horror movie.
Yeah, like fire and brimstone.
Right.
Yeah, it's not quite like that. I mean, as it's presented in these sessions, it's much more subtle.
Okay.
It's this pervasive influence that seems to be aimed at keeping humanity, in this state of fear and negativity,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately control.
Control for what purpose, though? Like, what are these
Right.
supposed puppet masters? What do they want with us?
That's the interesting part. So the sessions suggest that these entities, these forces behind the agenda, that they're interested in something they call low-frequency energy.
Low frequency energy.
Yeah.
Okay, hold
Wait,
on.
what does that even mean?
It sounds very new agey. Um, think about it this way. Emotions have a vibration, right?
Okay.
Love, joy, gratitude. These are high frequency vibrations.
Okay.
Fear, anger, despair. Those are low frequency.
Okay.
And the sessions are suggesting that these entities, they feed off of those negative emotions
So they're like little emotional vampires.
that are draining us of our
Yeah.
joy and our good vibes.
Exactly.
It's a creepy thought.
It is unsettling, and they achieve this, according to the sessions, through a variety of methods.
Okay.
We're talking about media manipulation, subliminal messaging,
Mm-hmm.
even control over systems like healthcare and finance.
Wow. So it's not just like, messing with our minds. It's like they're trying to control like the very structures
Right.
that we live in.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But who are they? Like, do they actually name names in these sessions?
They do, and this is where it gets really bizarre.
Okay.
So repeatedly we see entities mentioned like draconians, reptilians, even insectoids.
Hold on. Insectoids, like giant praying mantises pulling the strings?
It's a little more varied than that, but that's the common thread.
Okay.
These non-human entities with their own agendas, and they're often described as cold, calculating, and manipulative.
I'm officially creeped out now. But let's get back to the methods. How are they supposedly influencing us? Are they like beaming messages into our brains from spaceships or something?
It's much more subtle than that. So one recurring theme is the use of media and entertainment
Okay.
to spread subliminal messages and cultivate certain emotional states in us.
You mean like hidden messages in music and movies? I've heard of that kind of thing.
Right. But the sessions go even deeper than that.
Okay.
They suggest that even seemingly harmless things like the structure of the news cycle is designed to keep us in this constant loop of fear and anxiety.
So basically, doom scrolling is playing right into their hands.
Potentially, yeah. The idea is that by keeping us in that state of fear, they can more easily manipulate our thoughts and our behaviors.
Okay, so this is all starting to feel like a conspiracy theory rabbit hole, but I have to say it is a pretty compelling one.
It is.
But at the end of the day, these are just claims made under hypnosis.
Right.
So how much weight should we really give to them?
That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not saying this is definitive proof.
Right. But the consistency of these themes across multiple sessions is intriguing, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, it raises some really important questions about the nature of reality, the
Yeah.
power of belief,
Yeah.
and the potential for hidden influences
Yeah.
that are shaping our world.
Okay, I can definitely see that. So if we were to take these sessions at face value, what can we do about it?
Right.
I mean, are we just at the mercy of these like shadowy forces?
Well, not necessarily. Interestingly, the sessions offer a glimmer of hope in all of this.
Hope in all of this darkness.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So they repeatedly emphasize the power of personal empowerment.
Okay.
They suggest that by cultivating awareness, raising our vibration, connecting with our inner strength,
Mm-hmm.
we can become less susceptible to these influences.
So it's about fighting back, not with like physical force or anything like that, but with our own energy and our own consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They suggest practices like meditation, mindfulness, and positive thinking can actually make us less appealing targets for this negative energy. So basically, good vibes are our best defense.
In a sense, yeah, it's about reclaiming our power individually and collectively.
Okay.
And choosing to align with a higher frequency.
I'm definitely intrigued, but before we dive deeper into those solutions, I think we need to unpack this satanic agenda a bit more.
Yeah.
What specific examples do these sessions give about how it's playing out in the world? Like, how are we seeing this manifest?
Well, they delve into a few areas that might surprise you.
Okay.
For instance, they talk about the medical system as being...
Wait, hold on, before we go there. I think we need to dedicate a whole segment to this concept of energy harvesting.
Okay.
Like, what does that really mean, and why should our listener care?
You're right. That's a crucial point. Let's dive into that. This concept of energy harvesting, because it's really central to understanding this whole alleged satanic agenda. It really is.
Okay, so walk us through it. What does it actually mean to harvest someone's energy? Because it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, imagine it less like a laser beam and more like emotional parasitism.
Okay.
So they're describing these entities as feeding off of our negative emotions, our fear, our anger, sadness, essentially siphoning our energy when we're in those low vibrational states.
So it's not just about controlling our minds, it's about like literally draining us energetically.
Exactly.
But what do they do with that energy? What's the point?
That's where it gets really murky.
Okay.
So some sessions suggest they use this energy to fuel their own existence, their own activities in other dimensions.
Oh, wow.
Others suggest that they're using it to manipulate our reality to shape events in a way that serves their agenda.
Okay, so if we're constantly being bombarded with negativity through the news, through social media, even just the stress of daily life, are we basically just giving these entities a free lunch?
It's a disturbing thought, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And it ties into those claims about media manipulation, the idea that we're being intentionally bombarded with this negativity to keep us in that state of fear and anxiety, making us easier to control and, well, easier to drain.
Okay, but let's say for the sake of argument that this energy harvesting thing is real.
Right.
What can we do about it? Can we protect ourselves?
That's where that empowering message comes in.
Okay.
So they suggest that by raising our vibration through practices like meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, we can become less appealing targets.
So if we're radiating good vibes, these entities are basically like, nah, I'm not interested.
That's a simplified way to put it, but essentially, yes.
Okay.
The idea is that the higher our vibration, the less susceptible we are to this kind of manipulation.
Okay, so good vibes are our shield. I got it.
Got it.
But let's get back to the specifics of this satanic agenda.
Yeah.
You mentioned the medical system earlier, and that kind of caught my attention. What do these sessions have to say about health and healing?
This is where it gets particularly unsettling.
Okay.
So the sessions describe hospitals as being like energy vortexes, places where fear and pain and suffering are concentrated.
Okay, well, I mean, by their very nature, hospitals are dealing with a lot of heavy stuff.
Right.
But are they suggesting that doctors are intentionally part of this agenda?
Not necessarily. They don't seem to be accusing individual doctors of malice or anything like that. It's more that the system itself, the way healthcare is structured, may be inadvertently serving this agenda.
Okay, that's a little less terrifying.
Yeah.
But how does the healthcare system fit into this satanic agenda?
Well, they talk about how the focus on treating symptoms rather than addressing root causes, that keeps people in this cycle of illness and dependence.
So they're saying that instead of empowering us to take control of our health, the system keeps us reliant on medications and procedures and things like that.
That's one interpretation, yeah.
Okay.
They also suggest that the fear surrounding illness, this idea that we're powerless against disease, actually lowers our vibration and makes us more susceptible to this manipulation.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
We're told that we're vulnerable, so we become vulnerable.
Exactly. And they suggest that by reclaiming our power, by embracing a more holistic approach to health and well-being, we can break free from this cycle.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
What about the other systems you mentioned, like finance? How does that fit into all this?
Yeah, so they describe the financial system as being designed to keep us in a state of scarcity and competition.
Okay.
Constantly striving for more, never feeling truly secure.
So basically the rat race is keeping us trapped in a low vibration.
Exactly. They suggest that this constant striving, this feeling of never having enough, fuels those negative emotions of fear and insecurity,
Mm-hmm.
which, as we've discussed, they can then feed off of.
So they're not just messing with our minds, they're like manipulating our entire economic system
Right.
to keep us in this state of like fear and lack.
That's the implication, yeah.
It's pretty bleak, honestly.
It is.
But before we spiral into despair, let's talk about solutions. You mentioned meditation and mindfulness earlier. How do those practices actually help us protect ourselves?
So these practices are all about cultivating awareness,
Okay.
both of ourselves and the world around us.
So it's about being more conscious, more mindful of what we're consuming, both physically and mentally.
Exactly. And by becoming more aware, we can start to make different choices.
Okay.
We can choose to limit our exposure to negativity, to focus on positive, uplifting content, and to cultivate a more peaceful and joyful inner state.
Okay, that makes sense. Are there any other more specific techniques that we can use to kind of shield ourselves from this energy harvesting?
The sessions mention a few interesting things like visualization techniques, grounding practices, even the use of certain crystals and essential oils for protection.
Crystals and essential oils. Now we're really getting into New Age territory.
Well, whether or not you believe in the metaphysical properties of those things, the underlying principle is the same.
Okay.
It's about consciously creating a protective barrier around yourself, both energetically and mentally.
So it's like building a psychic fortress to keep the bad vibes out.
You could say that, but it's not just about defense.
Okay.
It's also about cultivating a strong and resilient inner state so that even if you do encounter negativity, it doesn't have the power to drag you down.
That makes sense. But let's be real. For a lot of people, meditation and crystals might seem a bit out there.
Yeah.
Are there any more practical, down-to-earth things that we can do to protect ourselves?
Absolutely. They talk about the importance of setting boundaries, of learning to say no to things that drain your energy, and of surrounding yourself with positive and supportive people.
So basically just being mindful of who and what we allow into our lives.
Exactly. It's about taking control of our own energy, our own space, and our own destiny.
Okay, I'm starting to feel more empowered now.
Good.
But there's one thing that's still bugging me. We've been talking a lot about these entities, these forces behind the Satanic Agenda.
Right.
But what's their motivation? Why are they doing this?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, there are no easy answers.
Oh, come on. You can't leave us hanging like that. Don't these sessions offer any insights into why these entities are so obsessed with humanity?
They do offer some clues,
Okay.
but the picture they paint is, well, it's pretty disturbing.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Yeah. Give us the lowdown. What's the ultimate goal of this Satanic Agenda?
Well, it goes beyond just energy harvesting and manipulation.
Okay.
The sessions suggest that these entities...
Hold on. I think we need to pause here for a moment. This is some heavy stuff, and I want our listener to have time to process it before we go any further.
You're right. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But the journey isn't over yet. We'll be back after a short break to explore the ultimate purpose of this agenda and what it means for the future of humanity.
Sound good?
All right. So these sessions suggest that their ambitions go far beyond just, this idea of just feeding off our negative energy.
Okay.
They seem to be aiming at something much more profound.
Okay.
Something that could fundamentally alter the very fabric of our reality.
Okay, now you're really piquing my curiosity.
Yeah.
What could be more impactful than, manipulating our systems and siphoning our energy?
Right.
What's the end game here?
The picture that emerges from these sessions is, well, it's kind of like a cosmic horror story.
Oh, what?
They talk about a plan to essentially enslave humanity,
Okay.
to sever our connection to our higher selves,
Mm-hmm.
and turn us into, well, for lack of a better term, puppets.
Puppets controlled by these interdimensional beings.
Yes.
So it's not just about influencing our thoughts and emotions. It's about taking over our very souls.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is. It's a very chilling thought.
They describe a scenario where we become mere vessels.
Okay.
Our free will and creativity extinguished, our unique spark of divinity absorbed.
This is seriously starting to sound like a sci-fi movie plot.
I know.
But, if they're so powerful, if they can manipulate our systems and drain our energy, like, why haven't they already achieved this?
Yeah.
Why are they still playing these subtle games?
That's a great question, and it seems the answer lies in the very nature of our reality.
Okay.
So the session suggests that these entities can't simply force their will upon us.
Okay.
They need our consent, even if it's given unconsciously.
So they're playing a long game, slowly eroding our awareness, our free will, until we essentially give ourselves over to them.
Yeah, it's like a cosmic con game.
It is like a cosmic con game.
And they're using our own fears and desires against us,
Right.
manipulating our systems to keep us in a state of dependence and powerlessness.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, give us your fear, give us your anger, give us your despair, and we'll give you comfort and security.
Right.
A life free from responsibility.
Exactly.
It's a tempting offer, especially in a world that often feels very chaotic and overwhelming.
It is very tempting.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so crucial to become aware of these tactics.
Okay.
To recognize the subtle ways that we're being manipulated.
Okay, but let's be realistic. How can we as individuals possibly stand up to these powerful entities? I mean, it feels like trying to fight a hurricane with a feather.
Well, remember what we discussed earlier about raising our vibration, about reclaiming our power.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the real battle lies.
Okay.
It's not about fighting them on their terms.
Okay.
It's about transcending the game altogether.
So it's not about external battles. It's about an internal shift in consciousness.
Exactly. The
Okay.
sessions suggest that as we awaken to our true nature,
Okay.
as we connect with our inner strength and our connection to the divine, we become less susceptible to their influence. It's like we raise our frequency beyond their reach.
So the more we align with love, joy, compassion, the less power they have over us.
That's the idea. And as more and more individuals make this shift,
All right.
as the collective consciousness begins to elevate,
Yeah.
it creates this ripple effect that can ultimately transform our reality.
Okay. I'm starting to feel a glimmer of hope amidst all this darkness.
Good.
So it's not about defeating these entities. It's about evolving beyond them.
Precisely. It's about remembering who we truly are.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful, creative beings with an innate connection to the divine. Yeah.
And the more we embody that truth, the less power these forces of darkness have over us.
Wow, that is a powerful message. It's a call to action, not just for individual empowerment, but for a collective awakening.
It is.
This has been one of the most mind-bending deep dives we've ever done.
It has.
But amidst all the strangeness and the unsettling revelations, there's also a profound message of hope.
Yes, there is. And I think that's the key takeaway for our listener.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. By becoming aware of these potential influences,
Yeah.
we can make conscious choices that empower ourselves and contribute to a more positive future.
Exactly. So, to our listener, we encourage you to take this information, to explore it, to question it, and to ultimately come to your own conclusions.
Yes.
But most importantly, remember that you have the power to choose your own reality, to align with love, and to create a world where fear and manipulation no longer have a hold. And with that, we'll leave you to ponder the mysteries of the universe and the infinite potential that lies within each of us. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and keep diving deep. So the session suggests that their ambitions, they go far beyond, just feeding off our negative energy.
Okay.
They seem to be aiming for something much bigger,
Yep.
something that could fundamentally alter the very fabric of our reality.
Now you're really piquing my curiosity.
Yeah.
What could be more impactful than, manipulating our systems and draining our energy?
Yeah.
What's the end game here?
The picture that emerges from these sessions is it's a little bit like a cosmic horror story.
Okay.
They talk about a plan to basically enslave humanity,
Okay.
to sever our connection to our higher selves,
Mm-hmm.
and turn us into, well, for lack of a better term, puppets.
Puppets controlled by these interdimensional beings.
Yes.
So it's not just about influencing our thoughts and emotions. It's about taking over our very souls.
It's a chilling thought.
It is a very chilling thought.
They describe a scenario where we become mere vessels, Our free will and creativity extinguish, our unique spark of divinity absorbed.
This is seriously starting to sound like a sci-fi movie plot.
I know, right?
But if they're so powerful, if they can manipulate our systems and drain our energy like we've been talking about, why haven't they already achieved this?
Yeah.
Why are they still playing these subtle games?
That's a great question. And it seems like the answer lies in the very nature of our reality.
Okay.
So the sessions suggest that these entities can't just force their will upon us.
Okay.
They need our consent, even if it's given unconsciously.
So they're playing the long game, slowly eroding our awareness, our free will, until we basically just give ourselves over to them.
Yeah. It's like a cosmic con game.
It is a cosmic con game.
They're using our own fears and desires against us, manipulating our systems to keep us in that state of dependence and powerlessness.
It's like they're saying, give us your fear, give us your anger, give us your despair. And in return, we'll give you comfort, we'll give you security, a life free from responsibility.
Exactly.
It's a tempting offer, especially in a world that often feels very chaotic and overwhelming.
It is tempting, and that's why it's so crucial to become aware of these tactics,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
recognize these subtle ways we're being manipulated.
Okay. But let's be realistic here. How can we as individuals possibly stand up to these powerful entities?
Right?
I mean, it's like trying to fight a hurricane with a feather.
Yeah, well, remember what we talked about earlier about raising our vibration,
Mm-hmm.
about reclaiming our power?
Okay.
That's where the real battle lies. It's
Okay.
not about fighting them on their terms. It's
Right.
about transcending the game altogether.
So it's not about external battles. It's about an internal shift in consciousness.
Exactly. The sessions suggest that as we awaken to our true nature,
Okay.
as we connect with our inner strength and our connection to the divine, that we become less susceptible to their influence. It's like we raise our frequency beyond their reach.
So the more we align with love and joy and compassion, the less power they have over us.
That's the idea. And as more and more individuals make this shift,
Mm-hmm.
as the collective consciousness starts to elevate, it creates this ripple effect that can ultimately transform our reality.
I'm starting to feel a glimmer of hope amidst all this darkness.
Good. I'm glad.
It's not about defeating these entities. It's about evolving beyond them.
Precisely. It's about remembering who we truly are.
Yeah.
Powerful, creative beings with an innate connection to the divine.
Yes.
And the more we embody that truth, the less power these forces of darkness have over us.
Wow. That is a powerful message.
It is.
It's a call to action, not just for individual empowerment, but for a collective awakening.
Absolutely.
This has been one of the most mind-bending deep dives we've ever done.
Yeah, it has.
But amidst all the strangeness and these unsettling revelations, there's also a profound message of hope.
Yes, there is. And I think that's the key takeaway for our listener. Knowledge is power, and by becoming aware of these potential influences, we can make conscious choices that empower ourselves and contribute to a more positive future for everyone.
Exactly. So to our listener, we encourage you to take this information, to explore it, to question it, and to ultimately come to your own conclusions.
Yes.
But most importantly, remember that you have the power to choose your own reality, to align with love, and to create a world where fear and manipulation no longer have a hold.
And with that, we'll leave you to ponder the mysteries of the universe and the infinite potential that lies within each of us until next time. Stay curious, stay aware, and keep diving deep.